Are you ready?
Big flames. I was born ready.
Okay.
Literally.
Welcome to She Said,
Let's
where we chat the tricks and treats of the business of film and TV
shine a light on women who've empowered us.
and dish on plot twists in our life we just had to say.
Let's too.
In today's episode, we will be doing something a bit different, if you can't tell from the joint that is currently being smoked. Although I will say that Hannah smokes quite often.
I get high every single episode, and I feel like every single one of you should know that by now because my weed pen and my nicotine pen are two very distinct things.
It's very true. But if you're asking why I think things are different now, it is because it is that time of year again where we celebrate our Leo, which is Hannah. And Hannah's birthday is here. Almost. Obviously not when we're recording this, but by the time it comes out, it will be coming very shortly thereafter. So make sure to go say happy birthday to her, and you will get lots of notifications about it. So don't worry, you won't forget. And so I decided to give her the task this year of writing this episode. So I can see the little smoke things going through the air. Also, I will just note on a weirder, different note that if I look very strange, it is because I just had an emergency eye surgery and I currently can only see out of this eye. I have no contact in this eye because I'm not allowed to wear it. So I'm partially blind and, you know, Hannah.
Okay, so since it is my birthday episode, we will, of course, obviously we've already been doing it, be partaking in none other than my favorite activities, acting like Seth Rogen for an entire episode, which is getting very high. We've already started. In other Hannah fashion, this episode will mostly be comedy based because not only do we love informing you all of incredible talents, but we also love making you laugh and love good social media content.
Yes. Take this from me. It's very nice. It's a strawberry situation.
It is a strawberry situation. It's also very light.
It is very light, actually. I'm trying not to get too carried away because, as you know, I am not the smoker of us two, although I do love to partake in such things every once in a while. We were going to start off with a love letter, which we did last year, and it's all about Hannah 1, or I guess just it's all about Hannah. But I told her, I was like, listen, I'm going to have pretty much the same things to say about you. There were a couple things I was going to add in there, but, it would have been a bit more of a stretch. Not that there's, not a million things, but my love letter was so good. And if you're wondering what the fuck we're talking about, you should go back to It's All About Hannah regular,
I'm pretty sure it made me cry, did it not?
Yeah, you were tearing up.
Yeah.
So if you want to see Hannah cry, go ahead and get on to that episode. So we are branching off and spreading our wings and giving you some new segments and one that you know and love as well.
So since I am on TikTok so much for my actual job and I'm just addicted to it in general, I often find myself going down these wild conspiracy theory rabbit holes.
And because this is Hannah's week, we are feeding into that addiction and others, as we mentioned, and talking about some of our favorite industry-based conspiracy theories that you may or may not have heard of.
So I guess it's time for Let's Conspire. So, okay, you want to start us off?
Yeah, let me take one toke of this and then I'll hand this to you.
Please, because I'm going to have one or two more and then I think I'm going to be on cloud 9 running to Pluto.
Oh, no.
No,
not Pluto. Okay, so I am a very logical person, so conspiracy theories don't really get me that much. Okay, but I do like to figure out a mystery. I do love something that I know that actually has happened, and I think that it could have happened a different way, and we're not talking about it. So the first one that I am going to talk about is Brittany Murphy's death. Okay. There was a Clueless collection for Dolls Kill, and I recently just got some Brittany Murphy earrings as well from Clueless. But, I don't think that she has died from natural causes. Okay. It was too weird that her and her fiance, or what, was it her fiance or husband? Okay. Yeah. I couldn't remember because he was like,
he was just fucking weird, first of all.
It was a strange thing that they were dating, but, we digress. So it's weird that they died, obviously, of basically the same thing, but that it was almost like natural that they died this way, which doesn't make sense. They were just
Wait.
like sick.
Wait. Brittany Murphy?
Yes.
Like Uptown Girls Brittany
Yes.
Murphy?
Yes.
They died the same way?
Yes.
No, whenever she died, her husband like got with her mom.
No, but then he died.
Oh.
He died. And he died like the same way. It was weird. They said she had,
Oh, yeah. Now I'm remembering.
they said that they had like pneumonia or
Mhm.
something, which is a very strange thing for someone so rich to die from. You know what I mean? Essentially being sick, like having the flu. It's like, wouldn't you think you could catch that somehow?
There was also an addition to that conspiracy theory where they were saying like him and her mom conspired and like drugged her and like did something and got her sick.
But then it's like, then why would he die of the same thing? If
Maybe it was the
unless
mom.
he murdered himself.
Murder, suicide.
I don't know. I have a different theory than this.
Oh, let's hear it.
So I thought it was very odd that she lived in Britney Spears' old house. Okay. And which Britney moved out of because she said that she had too many unsettling experiences in there. And she also said that she couldn't sleep there because there were weird spirits and shit there. Okay. So I originally, when you hear that, you think, oh, okay, well, maybe there was some other weird ghost, supernatural type weird shit that, ended up killing those two people who weren't supposed to be there. But my head actually went to, what if Brittany's dad was doing something to the house to like make her sick or make her seem unwell? Okay. What if he was doing it to said house and then she moved out of it because she was all weird? Like, I don't know, maybe like they were trying to poison her or something like that through the house. You know how there's all sorts of shit like in lead in the walls or like whatever the fuck. I don't know. I don't know buildings. I don't know. I'm not a master chemist. I'm not Bill Nye.
I don't necessarily Bill Nye the Science Guy.
I just think that he did something to the house to try and like make her
put a curse on
make her loopy or something, and then make her seem like more like wild than she actually was. And then because maybe they were doing that, and then they left the house as is, and they didn't get out whatever they had or whatever, and then maybe the people didn't catch it before they sold it to someone else or something. So then when Brittany Murphy came in, there's something was up already. You know what I mean? So yes, I'm basically saying that I think that Britney Spears' dad and or team killed Brittany Murphy.
Okay, riddle me this. That made me, this is how conspiracy theories start, everybody. That made me think, what if Britney Spears' dad is actually a fucking witch? And he put a curse. Yeah, but he put a curse on the house itself, which then made Brittany go crazy, made Brittany Murphy sick, made her husband sick. But then why wouldn't Brittany Murphy's mom die from the same thing? Because she was also living there.
Maybe she was a
so
witch
maybe
too. Maybe it only affected
they
children.
Conspired together children named Brittany.
Yeah.
And whatever the fuck her husband's name
I don't. Maybe his name was Brittany too.
What if his name was Kevin? Then it would be Kevin Federline.
Honestly, I don't know what his name was. I
don't either. I literally couldn't tell you
for some reason. I think it's Brian. But anyways, what do you got? What do you got?
All right, I'm going to talk about Scientology as a whole. Freaks me out, but it also fascinates me. Okay, she's on my list of celebrities, but she's not. But I did see her name on there. Okay,
she's the bitch. She's the one who has all the seasons and seasons of documentaries.
No, I know exactly who she is. I didn't put her name on here.
Yeah,
probably because she freaks me out. Anywho, Scientology is really, really fascinating to me. Not in a way that I like would want to join. I simply just find it kind of hilarious, and I just like want to know what the fuck goes on in there because I want to know the answers to everything in the entire world. There's a lot going on in my brain. Anyway, that being said, a whole lot of celebrities are Scientologists, like actors, actresses, producers, directors, etc. And there have been many, many conspiracy theories based on what exactly goes on in there. So some say they communicate with the aliens somehow. Like that would go kind of crazy. Not gonna lie.
The Celebrity Center is so nice.
It looks very clean. That was kind of like that. Neither of us would want to join. I promise you.
Nobody thinks
it's weird.
Nobody thinks
I know, but I feel like I have to clarify. Anyway,
you don't.
The building is very clean. It's very pretty. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, others compare it to the Illuminati, or they say that they're connected somehow. For some reason, in parentheses, I wrote sacrificing babies because I think I read that somewhere. Saw a TikTok about it. The list of celebrities who are attached to it also is kind of insane, but we all know Tom Cruise, John Travolta, Lisa Marie Presley, Will Smith, Brad Pitt. The list goes on.
What do you mean, Brad Pitt?
Yeah, Brad Pitt was on the list.
He's a Scientologist?
Apparently.
No way would Angelina
Google
let him
it.
do that.
They're divorced, bro. Could have joined recently.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. I literally just Googled it.
In fact, I think we've talked about this on another episode, but perhaps not. But the weirdest person that, in my opinion,
Mhm.
that is a Scientologist and a devout, okay,
Mhm.
is, fuck, what is her name? Is it Elizabeth Moss?
Wait.
The Handmaid's Tale bitch.
No, wait.
Okay,
She's a Scientologist?
literally, the Handmaid's Tale that she recreates, fighting for women's rights and all this shit, is like a recreation of Scientology. They're basically Scientologists, the people that she's fighting in the show. Of course, it's all acting. However, I don't know how she could possibly act as this like feminist icon when she's basically in a cult, like is in the fucking show. What?
There are documentaries of people who have left the Church of Scientology. I have not watched any of them. I didn't have time to do my research on that today.
Bitch, I watched 4 seasons of Leah Remini's Scientology show. I know. I seen them.
Oh my god, my mom
see
also
all.
did I ever tell you this? Probably. My mom told me that my cousin is a Scientologist, like distant cousin. And apparently, because whenever you join Scientology, apparently you have to cut off your entire family unless they also join Scientology. So you essentially just like cut everybody off. But that's what my cousin did. And then apparently, like a few years ago, she reached out to my mom. And my mom, like, I hasn't spoken to her. I was like, why wouldn't you answer? I want to know things. What if she like left?
She was trying to sell. She was trying to sell her on it. So
yeah,
she
that's
could
what my mom
join.
said too.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm really not interested in that. And I was like, good job, Hetty.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom.
Obviously.
I know you're watching this.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good job.
Proud of you. Love you. Anyway.
Okay.
On to the
So
next.
this is not really a conspiracy theory. It is more so just something that I think that people have built a lot of conspiracy theories upon, and that is reality TV and how it gives regular people the ability to change how the world sees them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so the biggest example of this is the Kardashians, obviously, who I would say play a very big part in film and TV, even with Kim now going into narrative work.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to have her own show. She's going to have her own show, like based around her as like a lawyer or something. Ryan Murphy is doing it.
Oh, honestly, that would actually, I would watch that.
Yeah,
I will be watching that.
She was pretty good in the American Horror Story.
She was great.
Yeah, she just played her mom.
Yeah,
that was
honestly
like a bitchier version of her
iconic.
mom.
The devil works hard, but Kris Jenner works harder.
That's true. So I do wonder if in the quiet moments when they are alone, if they have any fucking idea who they actually are, because they've been acting a certain way like their whole adult lives to fit how they wanted the world to see them, because they were in the public eye so much and being filmed all the time, you know? And so I know that a lot of people like to hate on Kim Kardashian, obviously. However, she is an iconic Libra queen, and I do see some personality traits of her in myself. I wish that I was so rich that I could do all of these things, but I unfortunately was not born into a family such as
generational wealth.
Yeah, no, or that, you know, although she is an October Libra and right at the cusp towards Scorpio. So she's a little more evil than I am. And it's more stereotypical Libra when you get kind of that way. Anyways, I'm September. Duh. And so there is also a business mindset for these kind of stars. And I think that we like to hate on it, but really actors are doing the exact same shit. Because they just make more acceptable art to the public, and it's less of a like whoring yourself out situation which people, like see in reality TV because they're playing a role, but really reality TV people are also playing a role if you think about it. However, Paris Hilton would say it's exactly the same thing because she played a part in The Simple Life. On the opposite side, I would say that the part was very similar to herself, whether she likes to admit that or not. I'm always playing the devil's advocate here. I always see both sides of things. And so also it's the dating shows that can really show people's true colors, I think, because it's harder to fake something like falling in love than just fake like things you can control on your own. Like this is how people see me. It's like you have another person that you have to kind of guess how they're going to react to you and play off of you in order to create the narrative that you want. You know what I mean? I think it's a little trickier. And also I think that if you're not a sociopath, there is a part of our brain that tells us that it's very mean to be a different person for someone else who we don't actually like. So I think it's a lot harder for, you would have to be, I mean, you probably see that more in men, I would assume.
Yeah,
but
most likely.
but I think you would have to be.
Unfortunately, darling.
Yeah, I just think that there's so much around what people think they see in the reality shows, the things that they're picking up on that they're not actually trying to show us. You know what I mean?
They also, with reality TV, there's a lot of the time they have like taken different parts from different interviews and clipped them together to then turn people against each other.
Right.
So it's not even actual reality TV. It's all fucking staged.
Yeah, it's like edited.
Like, it's insane. Watch all of the old MTV reality TV shows.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next thing is lizard people. And we have talked about this previously on an episode with our dear, dear friend, Tony Sarando. So shout out, Tony. We love you. We miss you. He brought it up to us. He did bring it up. And also, if you have not watched his episode, go back and watch his episode.
Listen.
Because correct. Listen.
You can't watch it.
Sorry, go listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever.
But now you can watch
listen.
You can watch so many more things now. I need you to see what's happening.
Oh here. No, I see it. I can see it in there and right here. But so this theory is essentially that people in positions of power are actually certain people in positions of power, or all people in positions of power. That is so distracting.
Sorry.
It's okay. People in positions of power are actually lizard people, aka they're like a certain type of alien. I am a very convincible person, if you cannot tell.
And I'm the opposite of that.
But there are some things that I'm like, come on. And I think this may be one of them, but also it intrigues me enough where I could be like, because I do believe in aliens. We all know how I feel about aliens. I also it's still up, am featured in a documentary on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
I didn't fucking know about it until someone DM'd me.
We're gonna link it on this episode.
Yeah, we have to. It's honestly hilarious. I don't know why I haven't gotten compensated for it. Probably because it was on the open web, whatever. But there are videos on the internet that have surfaced of like Hillary Clinton, Britney Spears, I think Madonna, definitely Beyonce. There's one of her, Eminem even, where they are like morphing or transforming, like their faces and their eyes are like morphing into like lizard eyes, but their faces are morphing into like this alien figure. Anyway, there are so many different video editing tools out there that you can
create anything nowadays.
Yeah, and there have been editing tools out there where like this shit can be edited to a way where their faces are morphed or their eyes are morphed. Like anything can be warped. AI is so big right now. Like come on, guys. Anyway, not everything that you see on the internet is real.
This leg, it ain't even here. You see this leg?
I thought you were talking about my leg.
This isn't even a real cat. Okay? This is an animatronic AI'd animal here that keeps putting their fucking back
today.
Oh, yes.
Maybe he won't attack me if it's my birthday episode.
So,
next.
My thing, it kind of branches off from what I was just talking about with the reality shows, but it's a bit different because it's more centered on celebrities in general. And that is fake relationships.
Okay, he's alive. Sorry.
Fake relationships between celebs for publicity purposes and or to hide if someone is gay or queer. I have always found that very interesting because a lot of times, like two actors will be like, oh, we fell in love during this thing. And all of a sudden we're dating. And then all of a sudden we all love that story, right? So we have to like go to the movie now. We have to see it because we want to see real love transforming through this stage, And so I think that's, publicists are doing the Satan's work, is what I think. Good for you. Also, there's so many famous celebrity couples that I have heard through the grapevine that have hooked up with people that like I know. And I'm like, wait, like either they'll be like, oh yeah, these people wanted me to have a threesome, or they'll be like, oh, this person wanted to sleep with me, but then I needed to sign an NDA before I could like do anything with them. And then I will say, these aren't
this
like my
town is a lot smaller than it seems.
Yeah. I will say that the people that I have heard about the big people, you know what I mean? Like for instance, I heard one about like I've heard things about Ryan Reynolds and he's been with Blake Lively for a million years and whatever it is. However, I will say that they aren't like my best friends. Like it's not like Hannah's telling me this, so I would believe it with my life. I would bet my life on it that it happened, you know what I mean? But it's like people that I know, like through people that I know or something. So it's like I can't really say exactly if I believe them, but I also think it's a very strange thing to make up an elaborate tale about. You know what I mean? With so many intricate details. Like
it's very odd.
It just, why would you waste your time doing that? You know what I mean? Because it's like people who have like money or they have success already. So then why would in whatever they're doing? So then why would they lie randomly about like, oh, I'm hooked up with this celebrity and I had to sign this? Like,
it's fascinating.
And I'm not gonna,
it is very fascinating.
I'm not going to mention anyone, obviously, because they weren't supposed to tell me. But now here we are. I just think it's strange that we go through a bunch of this rigmarole for like because people
I love that word
because people love a relationship. You know what I mean? People love love. That's what it comes down to.
Not everyone loves love, apparently.
Okay, but if they don't love love, they love the breakup. They love the drama. That's something that they love relationships between these kinds of people. We're obsessed with them, and so I think it's interesting how we create them. And also, are you putting that out? Jesus, Corinthians.
Sorry.
Not even sharing.
I was out of focus.
It's her birthday.
My brain was out of focus. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to talk about the Illuminati. I chose.
Mine are very balanced.
Mine are real all fucking off the wall. This one is also, I've said this about all of them, they're really fascinating and intriguing to me, but this one is really intriguing to me because I'm 99.9% sure the Illuminati is real. Because it's, again, like people, I mean, I'm also easily convincible, but also a lot of people in a powerful position, like a lot of people believe Beyonce and Jay-Z are a part of the Illuminati or like help run it, right? A lot of really interesting people. It's been called out a lot also by one specific actor, Jim Carrey, King. Essentially, like, he's been talking about this shit for years.
Yeah, he's kind of a kook
about like,
we love him.
I know he is, but I obsessed. Fuck, I forget what it was called, but it was something gate, and it had to do with the Illuminati. I know. Google it. I don't know what to tell you right now.
Open the gates. Yeah, open
the Google gates. Figure it out. So this one talks about a lot of things that really stuck with me and freaked me out, like sacrificing babies, or they would like eat babies or something to like continue looking young, or like baby's blood they would like bathe in. I don't know, something like really fucking weird.
It's on a lot of shows.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's been talked about by a lot of people, but they also feel like it deals with like you're making a deal with the devil almost.
Oh yeah, well that's the whole thing. That's like that whole trope of like, give me your soul forever and I will make you famous or whatever the fuck. Yeah, that's even like a bunch of TV shows and a bunch of movies are based on that too. Usually it's dealing with like rock bands or something. Right. You know what I mean?
Dave Grohl actually made a movie kind of like making fun of that. It was a comedic
666
one.
Or something.
Yeah, it was like something 666. But it was all of Foo Fighters, I think.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
We are back with one of our favorite segments.
Let's go back.
So this segment came from an obsession that I have with behavioral psychology as a kid. And I often find that a lot of my art or creations come from a memory or an event of my past.
So for today's episode, we're going back to when we were kids. What influenced our art from a young age and how it still affects our art today. But I'm going to start with one of my dad's best friends. So my dad had two best friends whenever I was growing up. Still to this day, they're like his two best friends. One has passed. It's my Uncle Mark. That's the one that we're going to talk about today.
We also talked about him on Patty's episode as well, right?
We have talked about him previously. He was a big supporter in my dreams from like the very, very beginning. He also is literally my dad's, like one of my dad's best friends, not even blood related, but like him and his family are family. So whenever he passed, it really affected me. I was so upset about it. And I remember he wrote me, I think I said this in Patty's episode. So if you haven't heard this already, this will be new. But if you've heard a Patty's episode already, then you know. But he wrote me a birthday card one year and we would always talk about, like I would always tell him what I wanted to do, like the industry that I wanted to work in. And he was always like, yeah, do it, go. I wanted to move to LA ever since I was 5. He was like, yeah, go, do it. But he wrote me this birthday card one year and I found it after he had passed away because I completely forgot about it. And it was after I had moved to LA. I
was going to say,
thank you.
It's just burning away.
Holding it. But I found it one night whenever I was really contemplating. There was a time whenever I got here and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, which I think everybody kind of goes through that. So you either choose to stick it out or you go home. And I was kind of in the in-between phase. And I found that birthday card and I was really contemplating on moving back home and found that, read it. And that was like my push to stay in LA. And now here I am almost 9 years later.
Still here. Still rocking it.
Yeah. And then every Friday, whenever I was in like middle school, we used to go either to the mall, the movie theater.
Love it.
Or if it was wintertime, we would go to the ice skating rink.
Iconic.
Pennsylvania.
East Coast.
We loved going there because we would always just kind of like get into like random trouble, as you should during your delinquent ages.
Hundopy.
Still in our delinquent ages a little bit, I feel
don't
like.
know about me.
I know.
Pretty old.
6 months ago, you would have agreed with me.
Ancient.
Anyway, my friends and I would always it would always be a bunch of people from a bunch of different schools around the area. So we didn't really know anybody. And before we would meet anybody new, we would make up stories about them in our heads, like kind of play a game with it. Mm-hmm. So that also kind of helped my creativity in terms of comedic timing. I used to go whenever I was like baby. I remember this so vividly. I think I was like 3. I was walking and talking. So I don't know when that fully started. Like whenever I could like fully comprehend things. Again, Mom, let me know.
2, 3, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I used to go to work with my dad and he deals with antiques and all these really fascinating things. But I used to go to work with him and they did not give a fuck. I ran that shit. They didn't care what I did. Everybody there knew me. The customers all knew me.
So was it a store?
It was like an antique shop.
Okay.
But I would just go around, like dance around the aisle. I was the entertainment there, essentially.
They came for you?
They loved me. They fed me cookies. I didn't give a fuck.
What is this, a hotel?
They kept me fed. I was walking up to the top floor. I was walking around the whole bottom floor. I was just bopping around like not a care in the world. But yeah, that also, I was just entertaining from a young age. So there we go. And then I would always get creative. I've talked about this one before too, but I would always get creative with my cousins and friends. And like we would just make shit up. Like my cousin and I would constantly try to pretend we were in Barnum and Bailey Brothers Circus and pretend that we were the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and would fight crime in my grandparents' backyard. And then we would also pretend that their German Shepherds were horses.
Yeah. think she does that in the Home Alone episode, or the one we talk about Home Alone.
Yep.
I remember. I just know all the things. And guess what? You can know all the things too if you listen
back
to all the episodes.
Popcorn K.
It's always coming back to this, baby. So it's a callback. It's a callback. Marketing girl.
Marketing whirls.
Marketing whirls. Okay, Ow. So I did not do what Hannah did. Felt like this should be birthday oriented because we're talking about Hannah's birthday here, or it's all about Hannah because of her birthday. All about Hannah 2, Dose, the sequel.
Ooh,
the sequel. I like that. Yeah,
I like that.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put a colon. I'm gonna put a colon. And I'm gonna put the sequel.
I'm gonna put a colon. You said that so fucking weird. I'm gonna put a colon, the colon, and then the sequel. That should be the intro to the episode.
I stand by everything that I said and how I said it.
I salute you, sir. Ma'am.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to my 9th birthday today, my 9th birthday party. And this was a time when I had recently moved to a new school district and was just making friends, which is hell on earth. Okay, don't move your kids around all the time. It's too much. Kids are mean. Okay?
Correct.
Anyways, so I'd always have these big themed birthday parties, even though my mom couldn't really afford them. But luckily, her best friend owned this big gay bar in West Michigan. I've probably talked about it on previous episodes.
Yeah.
So when it came time to decide on a theme, we visited the back room of the bar. It was like the props department back in there. Okay? And the drag queens would help me pick out the vibe for each year. And they always had their pulse, right, on what was happening. You know, they were ahead of trends constantly. No one was ahead of trends like they were. So anyways, I went through all sorts of different themes, which they had decorated the bar with in years past. Very over the top shit, obviously. And so I decided on a Hawaiian luau. And so, you know, we had like the leis and the straw hats and the grass skirts and stuff. And then on top of all that, we had all the decor from it. And we did have it at a hotel that had a pool as well. Okay. So I got to show off some of my holding my breath tricks that I still can do. Try to drown me.
Are you threatening them? Try and drown me. What the fuck? Brother.
Try to drown me. Okay?
Brother, ooh.
You can't. You can't. That's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you, although if I was worried about this red hair, I'm not even supposed to be in the pool now. So I might just give up. My hair's ruined, so am I. Kill me. Now I'm changing it to kill me.
Weren't you scared in the ocean whenever we were in Mexico?
I was scared for my hair to get stripped. Two different things, Hannah. I'm a good swimmer, okay? Okay, we're moving on. Okay. So my mom's best friend attended this birthday party, and a lot of the kids thought he was my dad because I do have a white dad, and he is a white guy. However, instead it was my mom's best gay, which was definitely a product of being in like a teensy town as opposed to where I grew up. And it was probably one of my first times that I saw somebody look at him like a certain type of way, especially a kid. I don't think I ever like saw a kid look at him because he was gay. Like, ooh, what's this? You know what I mean? It was the first time that happened to me with him specifically, because where we grew up, it was a little bit more tolerant. Like they had, you know, whether they had someone in their family that was gay or their friend, they'd been around them before. When I moved to this new school district that was like really Christian reformed, and he came to my birthday.
Got it.
Then I was like, I don't understand why they're looking at him weirdly, because I'd never seen kids do it before. Parents are a different thing. You know what I mean? But children are usually kind of
usually kind of open to everything.
They don't even know. You know what I mean? They're just like,
they're open to everything because they don't know.
Right. Yeah. Which is great. But I think it just shows how much the parents were affecting the kids. That's how much hatred that they had, that it was trickling down even into kids.
That is unfortunately what happens. That's why how you raise your kids matters.
It does. And so my birthday parties in general were always very intricately thought out events that my mother and those around her put a lot of thought into. Every teensy detail was very important, and everything had to be just right, or it was indeed the end of the world. Okay? In a way, she gave me my no bullshit attitude, or the importance of getting it right and also doing it on a budget, because she never really had that much money, but it was always the craziest party that anyone ever had. Okay? And she was also all about free or discounted things. So she'd like figure out a way to get all this crazy shit for free. And so now in my art or anything that I do that is creative, I'm big on detailing. Hannah will know that.
Correct.
Tiny things that others wouldn't be upset about, I am determined to get right. And fuck, if you even listen to this podcast, you know that. Because if you could see how the hell this all looks before I edit it, you would be shocked.
I would call it meticulous. That's what that word is. Meticulous. Look it up in the dictionary. Yeah. Google it.
Google.
You'll find
Get
K.
on the Google.
You will find K.
Join the Google.
Join the Google.
Also,
just
the
like
last thing I will say about this is that the Queens played a big part in my love of culture, music, makeup, dance, and even parties. Okay? You can celebrate anything, really. And the gays, they do just that. The reasoning behind this is to spread joy where there isn't always it in their regular day-to-day lives. So I could relate to that pretty hard, because my everyday when I was a kiddo, if you haven't picked up from the other episodes, was kind of very dark comparatively to my birthday parties. And that is why my birthday is tatted on my bod as a reminder of the joy of being alive.
I think that's beautiful.
Indeed.
Yeah. So now, since I am entering my 28th trip around the sun in less than a month and nearing closer to my 30s, I'm gonna have 2 more years, but I'll be out of the 27 club. I oftentimes find myself giving advice to a lot of my friends and then not taking that advice. Therefore, I thought this could be a good reminder and also a good way to share some things that we both have learned in my almost 28 years on this earth. And
don't you say it.
I'm not going to. I was going to say, and your 28 years on this earth.
Yeah, exactly the same age.
Within your first
month apart.
Within your first 28 years of life.
Right, yeah. Your 20s are very pertinent years, I would say. You are a baby adult throughout these times. So today we'll be giving you all the pieces of advice we received before we hit 20. Oh, all of the advice we wish we received before we wish we received.
God, you're threatening them. You're yelling at them. You're hitting them today.
They love this. They love this.
This is called love aggression.
They're eating this up. This is keeping them. If they looked away from the TV for a bit, now they're back.
Yeah, if they're live streaming, not live streaming,
YouTube
air streaming.
Duh. People love the tube. We'll be
What do you mean?
we'll be giving you all the pieces of advice we wish we received before we hit 20, before we hit 25, before we are maybe hit 30. Who knows? So
Let's advise. I've been talking to my mom a lot in this episode. She's going to really enjoy that.
Okay, but you know what? It's all about Hannah, and there would be no Hannah
without Hetty.
Yeah.
And Chuck, for that matter. So thanks, guys. Shout out you guys.
But mostly Hetty, because she had to birth you.
Correct.
Carry you about.
I also did scare them when I've always been dramatic. I came out with the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck. That's probably why I'm so fucked up.
Okay. She's alive, though. She's here, and she's about to get out of the 27
Gave you a
club.
Scare. Yeah. Did that just to make sure you cared.
Yeah. Scaring is caring. And now we're going to give you advice.
Yep.
Okay, well, Ari said, I'm out. I'm out for this advice.
That's what did it for him.
Which is good, because I could not get cozy. Okay, so my first piece of advice in my current state, actually I wrote this before, so it's not my current state, is don't be attached to anything. Okay, attachments are weak in this business. You just can't. So whether that be like an idea or a project, always have like some people have like their one life story, and that's like, then it's just one thing, and they've been working on it for like 1,000 years, which is very admirable, and you should do that. Of course, I have things like that too, but you can't just have the one thing, because then when the one thing perhaps doesn't happen, or doesn't happen how you want it to, you're crushed and you have nothing else. Okay. And so almost I like to say, and this is part of it, is your one life story should be the one that you do after you do a bunch of other shit that you don't necessarily, it's not like you're one, like a love for you. I mean, hopefully you still like it, of course, but it's not like your thing. So that way, by the time you can actually do your thing, you have the authority to actually do it how you want to do it. So then it won't be taken from you and like put in a box, like a vault with somebody's rights, that you can't have it back, and it's your own life. It's wild that even happens to people. Anyways, so I think having a bunch of different stuff that you maybe have ideas for, or like, for instance, for me, for TV, I have like 9 different pilots or something that I've just had like ideas for, even small ones that I just kind of tuck away for a rainy day if I get sick of the one I'm working on and I want to be like, maybe I'll revisit that. Maybe something's happening in the world at that current time that feels like that's a really hot button issue that I talk about in there. So it would make sense to like do that one next or something. But as long as you have something that you can like pivot to, because a lot of times even your projects are like too hard to push through. You get stuck on a certain something, or something changes beyond your control, and then you get stuck. And like, rather than just sit around and do nothing, just find something else to be really excited about, just don't be attached to something. Also, it just could not make any more sense, and you could just throw it away, but you got to be able to throw it away,
I like that. Listen to your gut. I think this is a huge one, and this is something that my parents, again, shout out mom and dad, instilled in me from a really, really young age. You have to learn to listen to your gut. If something feels off, or you get a weird anxiety about something, butterflies and like that weird, that's actually anxiety. That's something telling you to run. Therefore, in stomach knots too, headaches, like anything that makes your body feel off, run from it. Sometimes anxiety will come up, but that could also be just a nervousness, and you can't really confuse it with that. You have to kind of know yourself well enough
just to trust your gut.
Yeah, trust your gut. Listen to your gut.
Do you think, like, in related to this, trust your gut, like if something feels off about like someone you're working with, or
absolutely,
like,
you can get weird feelings about, I feel like you can feel people's energy instantly. So if something doesn't feel normal to you, if something feels off, again, turn away from it. Don't let it into your life or your circle, because a lot of the time that can just blow shit up. And then it's also it could set you back then.
Yeah.
Everything that comes into your life is either a lesson or a blessing.
Wow. Put that on a sign.
Not on my gravestone.
Nope.
But Abba on my gravestone.
Well, my next one is apply for everything. And obviously, I don't mean that quite literally, but everything that has to do with like the career and stuff that you want is what I mean. So when we did our fuck 2024 goals or not episode, I had tallied up everything that I had applied for as far as like mentorship programs or fellowship programs, etc. And there are so many things that I have been applying for year after year after year and never getting in or never getting to even a semifinals or an interview or anything for. But there's something about, I don't know what that stupid saying is, where like if you, the more things you have, the more possibilities you have to get one of the things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like if I apply for 100 things, I might get into one of them, or two of them. But if I only applied for like 50, I might get into one or none. Obviously that's a huge amount, and I am not saying that I applied for 100 things this past year. However, I just keep applying because one, it helps me. A lot of the things that they ask you about help you brand yourself and or talk about yourself in a different way. So it's almost like just practice even though it's annoying to have to apply. And then also a lot of these programs keep track of who applies every year. And if they see progress like in your applications, they're like, oh, this one wasn't quite there last year, but it looks like she tried again and she has all this new stuff now. It just shows, it's kind of like that whole thing, like all you have to do is graduate from college. You don't have to even like really be that, you don't have to have like a 3.0 GPA or anything. Nobody gives a shit about any of that.
You don't even have to go.
Yeah, but I'm saying like in this metaphor, I'm saying like all you have to do is graduate, like the degree, degree you got, the whatever. So it's basically like saying is all you have to do is keep applying for these things and try, your best or whatever, and people can see just from the effort that you're putting in year after year that you might be a candidate further down the line to then get into one. So I, of course, don't love not getting into them. It's not like I'm like rejoicing when I get a rejection letter each time, but I will say that, the more that I apply for, the more that I do. I think when we did our tally or whatever, I had like gotten to 2 different mentorship programs and a fellowship. So that was like I got into 3 of the things of maybe like 20 that I applied for, but still,
Every no prepares you more and more for that one yes.
Another sign.
Yo, I'm ripping the one-liners today. Saying no is 1, okay, and 2, a full sentence. So this is something that I actually just recently have really been learning, I guess within the past like few years, like really drilling it into my head. And sometimes I still can struggle with, but no is a direct answer. No is a full sentence, and you should never, ever, ever force yourself to do something that you don't actually want to do just because you feel bad about it or because you feel bad about like not being able to help a person. Like invest in yourself.
Yeah, or even because you feel like the person just won't like you if you say no or something.
Yeah. Like don't be afraid to say no. If they're not understanding, then they're not a real friend. And if they are understanding, then there you go. Boom.
Then it's a test. And you see how they perform.
What the fuck?
Well, my next one is spend more time cultivating relationships and less time writing. And you don't have to use that as writing. You could be acting or whatever the hell the thing that you do is, because I mean this after you have a nice sample of work. I don't mean this like from the very beginning. Obviously, spend a lot of time I'm just going to use me as an example because it's just easier to do that.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time for years, just in classes and workshops, reading every book that I could, workshopping my stuff, then working on set, all of these things, right? Trying to learn. But then once I felt that I had, obviously I'm continuing to learn every day and everybody does, but I'm saying once you have like a solid sample of work, for me, that was like having like 3 good samples for like staffing. Once I had that and I had some other experiences, I said, okay, I really need to just spend a lot of time cultivating the relationships, around me and going to networking events and other events and even making friendships, obviously, and then cultivating those friendships with my writer people who weren't normally the people that I hung out with before that. Like I didn't have a lot of friends in film and TV, and now I have a ton of friends in them, like most of my friends are. Also, I would say don't do just like I'm a writer. I don't want to just meet writers, right? Like I want to meet actors, I want to meet directors, I want to meet filmmakers, I want all of these different people, because you just never know who is going to help you down the line. Like you want to make a short film, all of a sudden, oh my God, you know a million different people who you trust already in it. Or you have actors that are homies with you and now we'll do it for free or whatever it is. But if you were just hanging out with writers all the time, then you wouldn't have any of these experiences. And also, one thing that I've recently started to notice is I actually like having friends in different sectors, because then if you go out together, you go to an event together or something, you're not like competing for the same thing
Not only that, I
necessarily.
feel like it widens the just creative bubble and energy around you.
Yeah,
Like it's kind of a little bit more inspiring getting to know other people within different sectors of the industry as well.
yeah, of course it is. But for me specifically, I was finding that I was going to a lot of events and it would be like, just this is a fake example, but say I go with 5 of my Latina writing friends or something. We all kind of have the same exact thing to give someone. So
Right.
then, like, what makes me more interesting than this girl or that girl or whatever it is? When you're going to an event such as that, it's like feels weird. Whereas when you go with somebody, like say I go with you, I can be like, oh my God, Hannah's an actor. She's done blah, blah, blah. You're looking for this, blah, blah. Like you can almost talk each other up because you don't do the
Yeah,
same
it's
thing.
almost easier to network that way.
Yeah. And then they also know a
Teamwork
ton
makes the
of
dream work,
other
baby.
people too. So you might know a ton of other writers then I can know through you. You like, you just, it kind of puts your web out a little more than if you stay in like a
That one
tight,
sector, like a tight.
contained area. Yeah.
Next on my list, everything really does happen for a reason. It kind of goes off of what we were saying earlier. Like every no, it just prepares you more for a yes. But when one door closes, another opens is really such a true statement. I feel like I can say this in so many different sectors of my work, where there have been so many different no's that have led to a better yes, or something didn't work out where literally that day something better came along. So just know that whenever something negative happens or you receive a no, oftentimes, if not all the time, it leads to something so much better. And again, every single no that you receive just prepares you even more for that one yes. Hundo P.
Well, my next one is you got to spend money to make money. Okay. And I feel like, because, well, I grew up in the Midwest. She grew up, in Pennsylvania, which is, kind of like Midwesty, East Coasty, depending on where you are in Pennsylvania, obviously. But we're not talking about geography here. We're talking about money. But I feel like growing up in the Midwest, everyone was super like weird about like how you had to save money, how you have to have a house, how you have to, you know what I mean? How you have to be smart with your money and all. Even if people were rich, I feel like they were still kind of like frugal in their thing. So I will say that growing up like that, it does feel very frivolous to put so much money into something that may not have any rewards or gains for sometimes even a decade or maybe ever. You know what I mean? Depending on who you are and what the situations are. But it's almost like you're praying for a dream that you don't have a lot of control over, I would say. And so, of course, you want to do your research and make sure you aren't throwing money into your, into like contests or classes
that
or
are scams.
Yeah, or anything that you won't push you forward in some way. Like you want to make sure that somebody has told you about it, or something that you know and trust, and or that you've read review. I mean, there's so much shit online now. You could find anything you wanted about anything.
We're going to refer again to our good dear friend Google. Use it.
Just look about, you know what I mean, before you
browse around.
Especially because, LA is not really the cheapest place to be, or New York, or wherever, these things are
Any
happening.
major city.
Yeah, that are happening. So you definitely want to make sure, if you are putting money into something that you know is not going to, have a reward like at a certain time or something, that you are doing your research, so you're not just throwing away money that you don't really have, obviously, because there are a lot of scams, there are a lot of money traps, I would say. Like there's like 5 million writing contests and film festivals.
Same with acting classes.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, which one of these do people actually care about? Which one of these have
more so, I guess, instructors like that are scams.
Yeah, but like which one has good results, even if you did win or something, you know what I mean? Like, what are you going to get out of it? I also was going to say, okay, so I know that it's a lot of money to live in LA. However, it is a lot of money to do anything in LA, right? So if there is, some sort of fee for something, that a workshop that you've heard really great things about, that you actually think you could gain something for, just don't go out for like a night or for like a weekend. And then all of a sudden, you have your fee. You can be working on your shit for the workshop or whatever the hell it is, anyways. Like there are ways to do it, even though it feels bad to put money into it, I think sometimes. But maybe if you change your mindset on how it's actually investing in yourself and investing in your future, then it feels a little bit better, at least to me, because I know myself and I know that I'm going to work super hard afterwards. So I'm not really that worried about, like, I know I'm going to get the money back someday. I feel that. Even like, you can
have to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't, then what the fuck are you doing?
Also, it's like you could not go out to eat for a whole month and have a whole class, like a month's writing class or something, that, maybe could make one of your scripts that next best script that like gets you a job or whatever the hell. You just don't know, because it's really hard to get stuff done on your own, I will say. I find it very helpful. I'm almost like paying for them to force me to do stuff, really. And then I also feel good about like the anxiousness of like, somebody has told me that I'm on the right track, or that this is good, or oh, they gave me this idea I never would have thought of. So I really do think it's like invaluable, some of these classes and stuff. Well, and some summit that seems like ridiculously priced, or the membership that allows you to go to said summit, I know I have a lot of those. They could mean new connections that either strengthen, your bonds that you already had with that person, and or bring about job opportunities on a short film, or get you an actor you really liked that you randomly met at this summit or something, and that you would have never had access to beforehand. And so you just never know. It's like these things are, even being seen at these things are important, which I know sounds stupid, but I don't make the rules. You know what I mean?
It's the truth.
So
it's networking.
Spend your money on yourself
to make money.
Yeah.
Next, and not last, nor least, this is a big one for me. Lead with love. You may or may not disagree with this. Yeah, I think you'll agree with this. This has been such a big thing for me, and I know you'll agree with this part, but I always get told by my close friends that I am way too nice, which has definitely bit me in the ass sometimes. I'm learning. But my main thing with everything I do is like try to see the bigger picture and try again. I mean, I feel like I'm like you in that sense, where I try to look at things logically from both sides rather than just like one. But lead everything with love, like fully, because you really only know what is ever fully going on in your life. And I always say, like, no matter what's going on with me, at anytime I enter like work mode, I leave it at the door, deal with it later, which may not be the healthiest thing, but that's just what I feel like. It's
healthy for everybody else,
for me, and it's healthy for everybody else, because I'm dealing with things on my own time with my sweet therapist. Since you only fully know what is going on with you in your life, you don't know what is going on fully within everybody else's life around you who you're working with. Like if somebody is having a shitty day on set, like you don't, like, again, lead with love, give them the grace, because you don't know. If you lay everybody's cards on, my mom used to say this to me all the time. Again, Hetty, shout out, good job. You lay everybody's cards out on the table and look at everybody's problems, like a lot of the time yours aren't going to be the worst. So that being said, sometimes that could, it might be the worst. I don't know. Again, I only know what I'm going through. So lead with love. Kindness can for sure be taken for granted. I'm also a big believer in karma though. So as long as you like check yourself and you do the absolute best you can, you hold yourself accountable, you do the work on yourself and know that you're really doing everything you can. And again, lead with love and with your heart on your sleeve, but like keep it a little guarded. It'll get you so many more places.
Preach, sister. Well, this is my last one that I have here. And it says, you cannot do it all. You cannot do it all. Okay? I know that people like to tell you, especially as women, wow, she can really do it all. No, she can't. No, she can't. Usually the women that they say that about have tons of help all over the place. They're doing it with a team of people. They cannot do it all, and we cannot do it all either. And guess what?
Not alone.
I try to do it all. I really do, and I can't. And that's what I'm telling you. All right? So I think, well, at least you can't do it all well. Okay?
Yeah.
There's a distinction between that, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to sacrifice a bit of something, of some of the things, whether that be like your vacays that you love going on, your relationships that you have, whether that be friendships or romantic, maybe your career stuff, maybe your hobbies. Maybe you used to have a ton of hobbies, but now you don't. You know, working out, eating well, like all of those things. It's like impossible to do all of the things well for yourself. You have to pick. And sometimes your body picks for you. I know, because I'm often getting sick from working myself to absolute death.
Yeah, mine fucked. My stress really took over.
Yeah. So I'm a Libra, which I have mentioned about 7,000 times on this podcast. So yes,
we have a whole episode about it and another one coming up.
I know. So yes, I love balance, but I find it one of my greatest struggles in life is balancing all of those things that I just mentioned. For instance, working out, don't do it. Haven't done it in about 8 to 9 years. You think that I'm kidding. A hike, never taken one. Don't know what they are. Won't go. Okay? I'm not working out, and I eat like a fucking child. Okay? I eat desserts, snacks, Mexican candies, sometimes Mexican food, which is fine. That's not childlike, but I'm just saying, for the most part, I don't eat very well. I am finding that in part, a lot of that struggle to like balance things is due to my ADHD, which makes it harder for me sometimes to switch modes once I get into one thing or another. And mind you, it's hard enough for me to switch modes. The fact that I do something as my day job, I do my writing stuff, I might do film stuff, I do the podcast stuff, I do the sketch show stuff, and even those things to switch to from the other mode of switching from the other kind of work is already hard enough, let alone trying to switch from doing all of that and then being like, oh, I'm going to date this person. Oh, I got to coordinate all my friends' things, birthdays and shit. And then you also want me to take care of my body? I can't. I got to pay bills and shit up in this bitch. I don't even know how to organize my life, let alone organize all this other shit. Building all these goddamn relationships with people. It's insane.
Girl.
People aren't supposed to know as many people as we know. You know what I mean?
I know.
It's too
But
much.
also, it's not that insane if you think about it in a large scale.
It is.
But maybe it's because we know so many fucking people.
Okay, but listen up. When somebody's famous, okay, they have help with childcare. They have someone who manages their schedules for them.
I
They have
know.
someone who helps them manage their work stuff. And other people do a bunch of stuff for them within that. They have someone that helps manage even their relationship calendar. Oh, I got to go to a PTA meeting or some shit. My assistant took care of this for me. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people. So I just feel like it's just unfair at this point in our lives where we are to expect us to be able to do all of those things. You know what I mean? And you can't do it.
Not alone.
Yeah. I just think it is so much easier for me personally to concentrate on one part of my life, put my all into it. Okay, put everything I have so I can be really good at that one thing. And then once I get a little bit further into feeling steady in that thing, then I can start to incorporate tiny other parts of things, which I've already started to do because I feel, although I have not made it in my TV writing career, I do feel more solid in it and what I know and who I know and all these things. So now I have started to incorporate dating into my life, which I have not done for years. Okay, you know, and I wasn't doing it before.
You weren't.
No, slowly, I said, slowly bringing them in.
Last but certainly not least, you're gonna love this one. Do you see it?
No.
Oh, but of course, be more selfish. Now, this is coming from someone who grew up never wanting to step on toes. I felt like I was constantly walking on eggshells to like not hurt anybody's feelings around me and like not say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. So let it be known that most people are not only thinking about themselves, but they typically have their best interests in mind. So this isn't for everyone. Some people can be extremely selfish to the point where like this actually isn't for you.
Yeah, like film and TV.
Yes. So by all means, help your friends, help your family. And like there are times where you definitely shouldn't be selfish. Like whenever it comes to, I'm a big believer, and we've talked about this on the podcast before. I always work with my friends. I think it's incredible. I believe in all of my friends' talents so much, and like everybody that I work with in terms of the entirety of the industry, they're such hardworking people. Hello, that it's inspiring. I feel like putting together so many beautifully creative minds is such a fun process, and being able to riff off of each other and learn other people's creative and comedic timing and see and experience different things together and
collaborate.
Yes, it's such a beautiful process, but like make sure that you are taking care of yourself first, because if you're not, then that oftentimes can slip under the rug. And it kind of also goes back to like saying no, and like you can't do everything alone. So yeah, just make sure that you're okay and make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because if you aren't taking care of yourself, you're never going to be able to help and take care of the people around you.
Can't overcommit.
Correct.
Overcommit.
Before we end, did I do a good job writing the episode?
Yeah, it was just stuff you wanted to talk about.
I know, but I mean like the style of it. Did I do okay?
Yeah, you did all right.
Great.
Look at that.
I needed to be praised. Stamp of approval. Needed K's.
The letterbox.
Stamp of approval. Yeah.
The stars. Well, thank you for putting up with our high asses today.
And we barely talked about Seth Rogen today. I'm kind of shocked.
You're the one who wrote this, of course.
You didn't think about it. It's different. I wanted to make it a little bit different from last year.
Yeah, because you've grown, because you've aged,
you've matured. I have grown
from the stoner stories. So, anyways, thank you for getting stony baloney with us today. We will have many more Let's Stories. Let's go back. Let's advise. And let's conspire in future episodes, along with several other fun-filled segments and guests.
In the meantime, make sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram at OCS Productions and let us know which segments that you're loving, which segments you're hating. Let us know if you like the new segments, because maybe we'll continue to utilize them. We don't know.
Let us know if Hannah wrote this episode well.
Yeah, please. Give me a 5-star Uber rating down below in the comments.
There you go.
Put a colon
Right
if you think it was great.
Colon.
Just comment
The
a
sequel.
colon.
Okay, that's the code word, actually.
Yeah, that's the
for
code
this.
word.
If
If
you
you
go on social media or you
imagine
go,
no one fucking comments. Even if you didn't listen and this is just posted on social media, lie to us and then go rate this episode on youtube.com/OCS Productions.
Yes.
Please and thanks.
Lie to Spotify, lie to Apple, say that you listened to it when you didn't.
Up our ratings. Anyway, also, please rate us with a sparkling 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. And write us a review on Apple Podcasts, because, we want to hear from you.
Yep, and we will catch you next time for more She Said.
Let's.
The